Welcome to a special St. Patrick's Day episode of Mind Under Matter. Middle of it, because Italian and Irish are the same, is what you're going to learn today.
I noticed a little Italian.
Keep on talking, honeys.
It wasn't lost on me, and I assumed it was intentional too. They are the exact same type of people.
Yes. So today we're going to teach you how to speak properly.
You do a better Italian Irish accent than I do, and I am a third Irish or something.
You look like a Conan O'Brien type of Irish, and I look like a Colin Farrell type of Irish, even though I have zero Irish blood.
I like Ramin always goes to the dollar store for his costumes, and I go to the party store, and I don't know what it's going to look like on me. I go on the shelf. I'm like, oh, that's fun. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna need that gold pot necklace for sure, and suspenders, and then. Yes, please. I wanna. Did you recognize me when you first came on here, or were
Not
you
at
like,
all.
who is
this lad? Who's this lad? I'm going to have a 2-hour conversation with. But the Irish aisle in the dollar store was just a single shelf. The Easter was a whole row, but
wow,
the Irish row was just a hat and a little cup. Which I have here, a dirty cup, which I haven't even washed yet. I'm probably going to get COVID-19. So I'm not going to be consuming any of this Guinness throughout the whole recording. It's just going to be for show. And I'm going to drink the sanitary water, which I have some bloody other place with. I left it with my friend Mark. I've been learning that the way to speak with an Irish accent is you got to put the word air instead of R. And you go, oh, my friend Mark just drove his car up to Ireland.
Oh, that's very good.
It's a lovely car. It's a beautiful shade of blue.
The first place I moved after Wisconsin was Boston, and I was there 7 years, and there's a huge Irish population. That was historically, that was like where the Irish first started taking over when they moved to, I think they went into New York first, but where they first like started gaining acceptance and getting like some political power was around Boston, because they were not welcomed at all.
No. They're the original hated white group, I believe.
Yeah. There's like you can find propaganda of like Irish like apes, like cartoon apes dressed in like Irish things, beating police officers.
Weren't they the first police officers? That's the first time I switched out of the accent, I think. I thought Irish were police or majority of them were or not majority of Irish people were police officers, but a lot of police officers were Irish.
Maybe they got into it. I know I guess they became really politically active, but they were refugees from the I don't know what my grandma's, it'd be like my grandma's grandparents something, or maybe great grandparents. Yeah, grandparents came, and I don't know if they were refugees during the famine, but the potato famine.
The potato famine.
the potato famine, which
It's so funny, even though I know it's serious, like children died and it was more horrific than 29/11s and even worse than anything Hitler did. If you compare the numbers, the potato famine was worse than the Black Plague or something like that. But just the fact that it's called a potato famine, it's funny.
yeah. Who's the comic? Oh, he's so good. Paul. Why am I
F.
forgetting?
Tompkins?
Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah.
He has some bit about the Irish potato famine and about how picky were the Irish as eaters. And I guess that was a little bit of a part of it. There was like other food that they could have eaten that they were picky about. That was like a very small part of it, was that they were like slow to adopt other diets at the time. But they were also exporting like lots of other food. I think they didn't have a lot of control over their area, and they were still exporting a bunch to their landlords and things. But yeah, that was one of the, I don't think I read the book Botany of Desire, but Michael Pollan's book, but there's a good documentary that they had him on. I think it was a multi-part, a docu-series. I believe it's called Botany of Desire, that was on Netflix whenever I watched it, however many years ago.
It's probably gone now. It's like on Amazon Premium Plus.
But the premise is like, are we domesticating plants or are they domesticating us? And it goes through different things like corn and marijuana and all, and potato famine was one of the things that it covered. And it's also a really good lesson about monocultures, because they ended up having like one potato that they favored a lot and selected for, but then they just had one. So they had all of their potatoes in one potato species basket. And so then so normally like potatoes in nature, they would have grown in you'd have a lot of different species and a lot of different terrains. So you'd have resilience if something like, say, a fungus, which is what happened during the potato famine, becomes pathogenic and wipes a crop out. You would have your potato bets hedged in other species, but I guess they just favored this one, or I don't know the ins and the outs of it exactly, but whatever. When I looked into how many potatoes they were eating like more potatoes than you predicted hot dogs being eaten by Americans.
That number is 900 for those of you who don't know that episode. 900 hot dogs.
they were eating. It sounds. I would need to look at it again, because when I just looked at things, I saw something that was saying they were eating like pounds of potatoes a day. Like,
damn,
pounds of potatoes.
Like they as in individuals.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess you needed more calories because you're not just sitting in front of a screen. You're like actually chasing leprechauns or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that Pete Holmes already does a bit about like it's okay to still make fun of Italians, and I think it's okay with Irish too. Irish, Italians, Russians, like any of the Caucasians. It's still on the table to do the voice, to appropriate, to call them anything you want. It's fantastic.
I think you can do the accent and all of the other things. And then I guess one thing that they're sensitive about is that it's St. Paddy's Day, like Paddy, because Patti is a female's name. So you're changing it to, so they're like, that's what they get up in arms about. They're like, this is about our saint. We can't feminize our silly drunken holiday.
St. Paddy. So not like hamburger patty, or no, a hamburger patty is a patty.
Yeah, it's I guess there's just one stupid video that I saw, but I like that's peculiar.
Yeah, I don't think I accentuate my T's anyway. St. Paddy's Day. Yeah.
So I guess it's with the D's. That's what someone from Ireland said in a video, and I took it as gospel.
Well, now it's gospel again because we're putting it in our video and we're spreading the virus. How information spreads nowadays. Whoever has the most surface area, that's it. Whoever has the most surface area on the screens across all the platforms.
Yeah, just whip up some juicy, exciting, questionably accurate details about history, especially when it's about outgroups, and it'll spread right around.
Do you think they were the outgroup because there was fewer of them, or do you think it's something to do with the red hair, the freckles? They looked different compared to the. I mean, who's the main head people like back in the day, white wise? I mean, of course, white wise, but the like Anglo-Saxon, English, Germans,
Protestants, Scottish. Well, I think the main thing is that the Irish were destitute. That they were a lot of them. I think they lost something like a quarter of the population of Ireland from either like death and starvation and disease that happened because of malnourishment and whatnot, but also just the mass of people. And then they would, like, people were getting on these flotillas and stuff, and they would, I guess the immigrants would come over. They would have, it would be, I forget, was it weeks or months or something like that on a ship, and you would be allotted, it was like 18 inches of bed space.
Damn. Like thickness?
Yeah, like they were packed in like shipping materials. Like that's how tightly people.
I don't even know if
in.
I can do that. Like maybe just one leg or something.
For
18
weeks.
inches.
And then people will just die, and they just toss them. You just weigh them down and toss them overboard.
Damn.
And that's how he got to America. So it was pretty bad to start with in Ireland to be desperate enough to. And then I think some of the landlords would pay to ship them out because people would be considered too much of a burden on society or too costly to care for or whatever else, just deemed more costly to keep in Ireland just to ship them out. So it was like all of the common immigrant stuff that you would hear today from like the most awful voices out there was just commonplace about the Irish back then.
The past is rough.
Yeah, I think they weren't terribly wanted. And so Boston was that first. So if you go to like the south end of Boston, it's super Irish and super, what's that? Boondock Saints. Have you seen Boondock Saints?
Not the Boondocks. That's different. Boondock Saints is the movie with, it's not a Tarantino movie. It's, what's his face? The name is on the tip of my tongue.
I think he just made the one movie.
That's his only movie? Okay. Maybe I'm attributing it to someone. I don't know if I've seen it, but if you tell me about it, perhaps I have, but I'm going to say I haven't seen it.
It's really good. It has Willem Dafoe in it and Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, one of his first roles, and Sean Patrick Flannery. But they were supposed to have megastars in it. There's a whole documentary about what an asshole this guy is. He was like this Southie guy that wrote this screenplay, and then it just started getting all this buzz. There was some huge bidding war for Boondock Saints and all of these incredible actors attached and stuff. And then I guess the guy that wrote it was just such an insufferable nightmare that the whole movie almost never got made, and then finally did, and then became this cult classic. It's a fantastic film.
It sounds like we've talked before about the names of movies that sound like they're going to be hits, like, Little Miss Sunshine or Eternal Sunshine of the Clockwork Mind. Just I know neither of those are right, but the type of movie that sounds that's a good movie. Boondock Saints, you got to see it. It just sounds like a good movie.
Yeah.
Not like licorice pizza or something.
Right.
Which licorice pizza might be great, but the title just horrifies you. You don't want it.
Yeah, I have no interest.
Reservoir Dogs.
Ooh,
who knows what it's about? It's a great title.
That's a great title. Yeah.
Clockwork Orange.
I love Clockwork Orange. It's one
that
of those
I have seen.
Yeah, that was like as a teenager, especially when you're and when you're a young man, it resonates with all of the like darker parts of being like a young boy and being rebellious and stuff, and then what happens when that all goes too far. But it's not the sort of movie that you want to like show to a girl. I found out when I was a teenager, be like, you gotta see this film. It's terrific. That is just horrifying. Like, why do you like this?
Lots of violence and psychopathy. And my dad was telling me a little while ago, like when he first saw it, he resonated with it and like saw it through the lens of the young man because he was a young man. And then when he watched it again, he saw it from the lens of the old guy that the guy kills. It's like, oh, I never really thought of it like that before. But as you see movies at different times in your life, the person you identify with changes.
I'm looking like a weird, like Riddler, Clockwork Orange-ish kind of psycho
the hat
at the moment. Look at these gloves. These are fishnet. So, yeah, like you said, did you say that before the recording? Most of the section was Easter or whatever, and then there's
I think it was on the recording.
Okay.
But dollar store, most of the section was Easter and just one little shelf for the St. Patrick's stuff.
Same for the
St.
party
Paddy's.
store. More, it was a decent size, more than one little shelf, but there wasn't tons of stuff. But there was 2 different sizes of these green fishnet gloves. One was wrist length, and then the other one was longer. And it's weird that they would be that popular that they needed 2 different sizes. I don't. Are the long ones like more feminine? Like a guy's like, I don't want to look ladylike in my fishnet green St. Patrick's Day gloves. Give me the short ones. They had 2 different kinds of those. And then like, this is pretty much, they're like, well, we have one perfect hat, so you can have that. And then that's your one hat option is just the one perfect one, which
that
I'm
is
not going to
perfect.
argue.
That is what I wanted. This is all I could get. And I'm not Irish. You can kiss me, though, if you take one of those. Is COVID over now? It seems like the narrative of it just ended all of a sudden. But maybe because war is more salient and it's, I don't know.
I think war just got it off everyone's mind. I took a break recently just from all of the world, just from thinking about the world, because it was all getting a bit much. I
gotta watch out for your psyche there.
Yeah, I was preparing for a private show in St. Louis, and it was for a bunch of scientists and stuff for a birthday. And I was like getting ready and getting a bunch of, like, not only have I not done stand up in 2 years basically, but I haven't, like, it's a different thing when you know you're performing for a room full of science, like the references that I can make and everything else. And it was, I knew things about the person whose birthday it was, so I was like including some material about
Hey
her
Brian,
work
you ever clean your beaker and then you notice that this isn't soap, this is 12 molar HCl. I'm gonna lose my left hand.
Exactly. And so it's lots of beaker jokes. And then, so I open up my laptop, I check Twitter, and then it just says DEF CON in the trending section, which is the alert for nuclear war. And then I just slowly closed my laptop. No, thank you.
You see this mushroom cloud off in the distance, and then all the houses start raising out of the ground, and like slower or quicker and quicker.
I did it because it was like the day that shit was really going down. And I did a joke about how when I first took the gig, I was like worried about a brain invading respiratory virus. And now I'm like looking at the structural integrity of the building that we're in, see if it can withstand a blast. And that was peak bottom, because it was like the end of February. Winter is just the reason why, one of the big reasons why before COVID I lined up everything so I could just be in my car and live out of Airbnbs, was so that I could spend all of winter in the South, because I know that I just don't handle winters in the North very well. And I thought this winter was going pretty well, but by about the January was up and down, and then February was a rough one, but I'm feeling lucky. Do you know why?
Why? For those of you who don't know why I'm laughing, it's because he held up a flag that said "feeling lucky."
Yeah, I forget that many of our people are audio only, which, by the way, all of our entire back catalog, I know that we said that we are on Spotify video, one of the only podcasts out there that has video on Spotify, actually. Really?
It's just us and Rogan? That's nuts.
We're one of the first ones.
That's cool.
I just looked, like, Your Mom's House doesn't have video on there. It's like select ones. They liked the look of ours and stuff.
Damn it, what's his name? Nadav. Yeah, get on it, Nadav. That's their producer.
And so that's awesome, because people can toggle in, be listening on audio, toggle in, be like, oh, I want to see Shane's dumb gloves and flag and take a peek at Ramin's awesome cheek Clover sticker.
Tattoo, permanent. I might get it removed next week, but permanent. I even got the reflective effect on it.
And I get done with this. The world's falling apart. My mental health is falling apart. And then I quit. I'm not drinking today because I was like, all right, I'm just done with alcohol for a very long period of time this time, because I was just on not a bender. I was just drinking so regularly that it was not helping my depression. And and we
people
have
always keep going.
Oh, we have too much. I got too much shit going on to like be hungover all of the time.
I was going to say that people assume that having a problem is just like if you're screaming at your aunt or something, or like leaving your kid locked out of the house and blacking out and like hooking up with your uncle at his funeral. But sometimes you're having a few drinks at home. You're not causing any trouble, but you wake up dehydrated and hungover, and it just ruins the next day, and you're already a year behind. Yeah. Most of us, or I'm speaking for everyone, maybe this is just how I feel, but like it's like a year behind. Like it should be 2021, but I put it off. I put all the shit off, and now it's 2022.
Exactly. And we're sneaking up on our 1 year, and I was just like, we haven't reached our goal. We have an incredible product, but like marketing, reaching the number of people, and we set like, pretty grand goals for ourselves. So I wasn't unhappy, but I was just like, under normal conditions where I was touring and everything, great. I'm happy to keep on investing in new projects and see how they go. But I'm kind of all in on Mum because I love doing this. I'd rather be doing this than touring and everything else. So I'm going through all of these things. I don't need to get all into it because it doesn't matter, because today's about feeling lucky on St. Patrick's Day. I get home from all of this and I missed something that happened on Patreon. So here's what happened. So as a reminder, and this is just important to the story, guys, this isn't meant to be a plug necessarily for our Patreon, but it is. But just a reminder, because it's relevant, what the membership benefits are. So we have tiers. We have a $5 Void tier where you get Mind Under Art weekly bonus show. You have a Visionary tier where you get that and a bonus thing, and then you get prioritized too in terms of asking questions and stuff. You get other stuff. I'll keep it short to get to the point. You got a honey tier that's $20 a month, and you get those things plus from each of our individual Patreons. Like you get a piece of Ramin's that isn't seen anywhere else each week. I put guided ruminations and do group get-togethers and stuff like that. Then there's coMUMity de Bouffons, which we have a few $100 a month. You get to be the fanciest person alive and all of these other perks and things. And then we had one that we've been talking about for a long time called a lunatic that started as a joke. And we were like, basically, if you give us $10,000, we'll make you a custom made straitjacket. And we will have you on our show to ask you why the hell you gave us $10,000. And I got home and we got our very first lunatic.
Please don't go. Don't go anywhere.
Please don't
we
go.
Need you.
$1,000 a month. And they wrote a lovely message. And this has some more news that you don't even know, Ramin. So
they've promised to stay forever.
They well, hopefully we'll have them for 10 months anyway, which just like, oh my God, all of my anxiety and depression and everything else just went away immediately for just, it's not even just the money, it's just the hope and the idea that someone cares about this show that much and that we are finally
for me,
able
it's the
to
money.
like,
I would rather have them not care about the show and give us the $1,000.
Sure. But all of the things help. So they said, they're anonymous, by the way. They said, all right, God damn it, I'm in. I've been considering being a lunatic for a while. The straitjacket is a pretty sweet perk. Being on the show seems daunting, but I'm up for the challenge. But International Mum Day pretty much sealed it for me. Like pretty much everyone, I've been going through a lot of internal questing recently, and listening to Mum has become a part of my philosophical and spiritual curriculum, right up there with RD and Marcus and all the rest.
Ramdas and Raghu Marcus?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, the more I see the institutions we've created start to come apart at the seams, the more convinced I am that it's art and music and philosophy, which are the few pillars that could remain standing no matter what. I trust you guys to spend the money however you see fit. Accent lessons for Ramin. More silly hats. Boom. Did it already. Whatever. Just don't give your staff any more raises or bathroom breaks, or next thing you know, they'll want to form a union. In all seriousness, no, we can't have that. In all seriousness, though, if there's one thing I hope this can accomplish, is to create a wider community for mummies and spread the love and silliness that you two cultivate. It's sad that it takes a pandemic or war for society to realize what's important. And then he just asked to be anonymous and said that they'll be giving their measurements for the straitjacket.
Hell yeah.
Soon.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very cool.
What a lovely lunatic.
You want to hear something cooler?
I don't think there is such a thing, but you can run it up the flagpole.
You want to hear something, what I meant to say. You want to hear something bonus cool?
Yes.
So at the same time, we had the International Mum Day. If you didn't hear, I talked about this camp out festival that I went to, and how we have all of these amazing artist supporters and everything else, and we were building this cool community filled with all these talented people and just thoughtful people that are interested in being creative and thoughtful things and whatnot. And we mentioned wanting what our ideal like little festival or camp out would be, and how we'd want yurts and everything. And then listener of ours actually owns a yurt retreat place and contacted us. And so you already knew that, but you don't know that I've been talking with him for a week and we're doing it.
He's giving us a yurt?
We're doing a whole mum camp out.
Crazy. Where is it?
It's outside of Raleigh. It's like 20 minutes outside of downtown Raleigh. It's this huge property, like many, many acres. It's already set up for camping and everything. Already has, I'm going to give the guy a plug at but maybe we'll tease it.
Bert's Yurts.
Tell that next, it's basically that. But I don't know how many details he wants me to give, but another his other main business. So the yurt thing's a family business that he inherited, and then his main business, he's into music and music production and stuff, and is a musician himself. And his main business is doing music production and equipment rental and everything. So he has all of the equipment for everything possible in an amazing stage and a bunch of awesome stuff. And where did I put my phone? Oh, here it is. And so we're putting together a mum camp out.
Hell yeah.
And
all he needs is the mummies.
All we need is the mummies. And so it can be so one, I dropped it on Discord already as a private as a secret treat for anyone that's on Discord. There's already people that are interested in doing live painting and cooking and bringing stuff and flying from Australia and all sorts of amazing things. And
real two easies.
Real two easies. And let me see if I can show you.
Now that's the luck of the St. Patrick there. What are the odds?
I know. And there's people in our community that plan stuff like this already. There's already like another location on the West Coast that maybe we can do next year.
All we ask is that during these camps, do not treat us as kings. Just treat us as like slightly more elevated than whatever status you're at. That doesn't mean that all of you are beneath, like everything is the same. We're saying that you might be a higher class than another person at the camp, but all we ask is don't treat us like emperors, kings, just a little higher than what you are.
Yeah, maybe we'll separate camps by class. By tier. So you can have, there might be a blind spot there where the voids have the numbers and just revolt against everybody, but we'll see. We have
to make sure they have inferior weapons technology.
I texted you the stage. There's a man-made lake there. There's yurts for the mum team, and there's a yurt for the lunatic. Might even be something for the couple de bouffants, and everyone else will be able to bring their own camping gear and stuff like that. I mean, there will be a ticketed thing for a 3-day event, and we'll talk about all this afterwards. But the nice thing is we can start. It can be as small as we make it. It can be a casual, like the first year, just being like a casual camp out with a bunch of fun mummies and Patreon supporters to plan out what next year is and make it bigger. But also it has all the availability to scale up and just go bigger this year if there's enough interest.
That's nuts.
And we'll use it to, that's why I was asking what your avails are. So this will be in the first half of September because that's ideal weather there, and we hashed it out and kind of got
what about wolves? Are there wolves, or are we safe?
Not only are we safe, but it's like 20 minutes from the city, so you could even get a hotel or whatever too. It's not like Burning Man where you have to survive. But there's like a frisbee golf course, there's kitchens, there's facilities, there's RV hookups and things like that too, if people have that. And so what we're going to do is, can you make something on the Mind Under Matter website for the festival where people can go in and we have a separate email so people can go there and enter their email if they're interested in hearing more about the festival specifically?
Go to mindunderpod.com/pages/Mum Day. Or if that doesn't work, click on the thing that looks most like that.
Why not just tell them to go to the website? Because while they're there, they might want to pick up some merch.
I figured I could get some private URL and put some malware on it. Actually, I don't even know how to do that.
You don't know how to do malware?
No, not yet. I haven't dabbled in the dark side much with programming things. It's always been just very safe stuff. None of it. But that's what someone who would trick you would say, though. Maybe I am a scammer.
So I texted you the place. Don't mention the name. This even though he said it that I could, but let's just give it 1 week to build up some excitement. This is like,
oh, that's a killer name. I wish I could say it. Oh, I can't say it though.
So go to the gallery and have a look at what we're looking at. So there'll be there'll also be, there's possibilities that we can get a crew in to bring glamping for people if there's enough people that want to fly in. Glamorous camping, where it's like more like rigid structures and stuff than like, you know, a crappy tent that you get at
that was just tent with like glitters or something.
No,
tent with glitter and a David Bowie lightning bolt over your eye.
The point is if you're on Patreon, you'll have a Discord link, right? If you were having trouble getting the link, because we're already starting to organize, so you'll be able to. There's already people talking about carpooling and doing other things when they're in the area. Patreon people will have a special perk to be announced soon, but anyone that's joined Patreon within our first year of the show, which is coming to an end in April, will qualify, and that's for future things like this as well. So there's never been a better time to join Patreon, because last month is the first month we were actually able to pay both our editor McCool and Rihanna from the Patreon account, not me having to like get my gigs or whatever I get in royalties from albums and give all of that away for an investment in the show. The first time we broke even on this damn thing. Woo! And
we've never paid ourselves for this show.
We've never paid ourselves for this show. And so if in the next couple of weeks we get a bunch of Patreon support and come if we get like half of where we wanted to be at this time, that would be amazing. And we're not that far off from it, and you'll get a bunch of perks. And so very excited. So we have a camp out / little festival to plan. I'm thinking we'll do some live Mind Under Matter recordings. We'll do some, I wanted to drop it live because I wanted your reaction to it. So
I hope it's a good reaction.
Afterwards, okay, good. I hope you're not like, oh no, what have you gotten us into? But I it's all taken care of. I've hashed it out with the guy and Rihanna and I have been talking about it.
Flash forward to September, we're just running away from wolves while the lunatic is foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, the Fire Fest. So because it's 6 months from now, we'll be presenting the custom straitjacket to the lunatic at the camp out.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Will they be have a bag over their head if they're anonymous?
Well, I talked with them about that, and I think they just don't want their full name like going out on the air or anything, but I think at the camp out they'd be okay. But
don't worry, your name is safe with us, Roger Pendrington Steen.
People are welcome to dress up in their morph suits, which I hope everyone has a morph suit.
Still got mine
by now. Please wear a cup if you're a dude and gonna wear a morph suit around the camp out. There's also I'm hoping our 3 coMUMity de Bouffons will make it, because I have some special stuff in mind for them, because we've had 3 that have been there since the beginning. Obviously all of our Patreon supporters are incredibly valuable. Every time we add a new person, and it's awesome, and we're building community and everything else. But there's also and don't worry, we'll get back into St. Patrick's Day in a second, but I wanted to share with you guys good news, because the whole team has been really excited and energized ever since getting our lunatics. So we're going to be able to start trying to like take things up a notch and increase our reach and everything else. So
yeah,
we have a bunch of last little things I really wanted to have by year's end that we're close, including I'll just tell you the one main thing is we want better cameras so the show looks better, which it already looks awesome, and it's not going to make a huge difference for your enjoyment of the show. Most people listen on audio anyway, but the reason is because then when we start doing a live tour, we'll have those cameras to record live to have as like a Patreon perk at the end of the show and grab all their highlights and things like that, and keep on building the Mum universe.
Yeah, people are tired of 1080p. They just can't stand it anymore. They need that extra resolution, because what do our pores really look like? You can imagine, but what's it really like to be in front of us after your glasses were just cleaned?
To make us look this good with the equipment that we have, there's a lot of constraints involved. Once we have actual cameras, it's not just like tweaking it and making it look a little bit different. It's going to look a lot better.
Yeah, and it solidifies this era too. This era is forever going to be like when you look at a clip from this, like, oh, that must be old because they're in 1080p. Or like our first episode, we didn't even have backgrounds.
And you don't know, like, people reach out to us all the time. People are going to want to collaborate. Maybe Mind Under Matter will have some sort of show eventually. You know, we want to be, it's just like the world where you get discovered now. Like, it doesn't, that's why I quit putting any effort into late night stuff like 10 years ago once podcasts came out, because it was like, oh, you just got to learn how to talk for a long period of time and keep things interesting, because no late night set is going to break you or set your world on fire.
You'll get 807. You'll get 807 views, maybe.
Yeah, that's about it.
After watching 6 ads for Acura and Geico and BarkBox and whatever else.
Yeah, so I'm super pumped. We have someone that does professional lighting that's been outfitting their car for a laser show that's like just on the top of their car that can be outside
for
anywhere.
Mum Day?
What's that?
For Mum Day?
For our mum camp out. Well,
cool.
I don't, because I think International Mum Day is still on February 22nd every year. But in terms of campouts, unless we have one in the South, because what I want to do is I want to have a camp out. First off, I was already trying to put stuff like this together before COVID. That's why I was connecting with artists and doing like the psychedelic stuff. I was trying to get like a roaming festival thing. That's what Banana and I were trying to put together. But to eventually have a camp out in like east, west, north, south, it's a perfect kickoff for like a 10-city tour in that area, you know, go in, camp out with everyone, and then do a tour in the area. So we'll also, after that, if you're available, we'll do like a 10-city tour, like probably going through the Bible Belt, like Asheville and Atlanta and
the Bible Belt?
Nashville and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know those cities were Bible Belt. I always assumed the Bible Belt was cities with no names. with just nothing but highway and a billboard that says you're going to hell unless you go to this website, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, there's big cities that reside within it. I mean, I think it's just called all of the
What if the camp out is just
Mississippi,
us?
Alabama,
That would be
Louisiana, Arkansas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Oklahoma. That's where we would go on this one. There's Charleston, Savannah. Have you ever been those places before?
Nope.
Amazing. They're amazing. Wilmington, North Carolina is amazing. Small
Never
little
heard of
city.
it. Cool.
We're gonna have a blast.
Yeah.
And it's all cities that are like perfect demographic for us. And the fest is going to get people excited. So go and check out our Patreon. If you can't afford the Patreon at the moment and you want to hear more about the fest being planned, we have a section on our Discord. So just write the Mind Under Matter Instagram account, just direct message, and I'll send you a link. And yeah, we're doing it.
Hell yeah. Can we have one person that does nothing? Like, not that they're just there and they happen to not be doing anything, but they actively do nothing. Like, that's their
like
art.
For pay. Oh, that's
like people have art, laser shows, people do music, all this stuff, but one person does nothing. We just put them in a beige room or something, and then they just stand there. That's the nothing person.
Yeah.
Write us if you want to be the person that comes there and does nothing. You can drink water and go to the bathroom or whatever, but
I think you could maybe we could have a nothing area where you sign up and you're just in the middle, and for 4 hours at a time in shifts there's a new person just sitting there doing nothing. It should be longer than 4 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like 4 hours, then you don't need a bathroom break though. Maybe a changing of a guard sort of situation.
What if
we want everyone to have the opportunity to do nothing?
Yeah. But one official person that's the main doing nothing. And then we could have old episodes of the show. Old episodes of the show could be playing in the bathroom at all times.
Yeah.
And we'll have a volume switch on it, but it only goes up. So you touch it and you thought you were making it go down, but it only makes the volume higher. And you can only go up. You can never go back down. I'm making this worse. I'm like scaring off people with every idea.
I think so. FYI, as long as you're available for it, I think we're doing Thursday, September 8th through leaving on September 11th, and then because that will be. It's like the perfect temperature. It's still warm enough to swim. I'll bring paddle boards, and there's also like a kayak and paddleboard business that can come if there's like so many people interested that we want to make a day of it. But we'll be able to bring frisbee golf courses. There's miles of hiking around there, so we can do a group mum hike. There's a bunch of things. There's a great stage, and because we each have our individual podcasts, Duke University is right there. Some of the finest scientists in the world, so we can do a live Here We Are.
Cool.
There's going to be tons of artists and things there, so you could do a live Rainbow Brain Skull if you want.
And all audience one. Like, I just call on random artists that happen to be there. You, what's your favorite paintbrush? You, how many crystals do you have? Great. All right.
Well, it might be fun just by the end of the weekend to pick from having met people, because a bunch of people are going to come and set up their art and things and display the various things that they do. So it might be fun to have Rainbow Brain Skull be like on the last day or something like that.
Yeah.
So you'll have met some people and everything and have
weeded out the
people from
losers. Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting.
Crazy.
And
how far we have come.
Yeah. So that's in 6 months, and then we'll have a 2-week tour after that time. And also the additional Patreon support is that sorts of things that we do with that is start, like, there's lots of extra things that we can do to branch out to get people, like, lots more people will love the people that listen to this show are amazing. Like we get the kind of compliments we get for this show are unlike anything I've experienced in my career. So obviously people love this show when they find it. So additional resources are a way of improving the marketing to find more people to grow the community and to build more mummies. And so the Lunatic inspired us to give an extra push to keep on building the community. So
thank you,
thank
Luna.
you. And more info on that soon. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'll talk with you more afterwards. That's Italian again. You even made me do it earlier, bro. I said Italian in my
Feels
mind.
good. Sometimes you got pizza on the mind. You know, pizza is actually Irish. Not really, but you know how everything is never the thing it is. Like, you know, spaghetti isn't Italian. It's actually Chinese, and fireworks are actually Chinese. And did you know that Irish people are actually Japanese? They're not even Irish at all. Potatoes are from Africa. That might be true, actually. Maybe potatoes aren't native to Ireland.
I don't think they were native to Ireland.
Yeah, neither were tomatoes. I think tomatoes aren't Italian either.
I think they were at a point of really resilient crop that had a lot of various vitamins and stuff. Because once they weren't getting the whatever vitamins are in the vitamin C or whatever from potatoes, it's not my area of expertise, anything nutrition related, but they started getting scurvy like crazy and all of these other so they had like weird restrictions on what could be grown and stuff, and then it was just a mess. They started eating like a lot of corn-based stuff that didn't, like, people for the longest time just didn't know that you couldn't just eat corn and like oh, you just fill your stomach, and as long as your stomach's full, then your body works. People didn't know that there was reasons why you need various nutrients and things. So
you ever see The Liver King?
Sick.
I don't know why the algorithm just recommended it to me, but he's this giant, like, muscle man with no shirt and a big beard, and he eats like 18 pounds of liver a day and drinks blood, and he's all about like returning to Paleolithic man. And I have no idea if he'll drop dead in the next 6 months, but he looks like glowing and healthy and stuff. And
organs are incredibly healthy for you.
So you can live pretty healthily just on eating all parts of the animal.
I would say organs alone. If a lion makes a kill, the first things, like if you're the alpha or whatever, you get first dibs on the organs. They go in the stomach. That's the first place that you go to because it has you know, like the gut and everything has it, there's a lot of partially digested grass and vegetables where it's already like partially broken down, so you are getting both meat and vegetables within those organs, and they're just chock full of all sorts of vitamins and stuff.
Nice. I'm probably still gonna just take the gummies, but that sounds good.
I mean, liver is
eating a stomach full of partially digested grass or Barney.
Yeah, it sounds awful. I mean, and it smells awful too. I mean, have you smelled cooked liver? Have you ever smelled it in a house? Oh my God.
Maybe. And if I did, I've blocked it out, but I'm not as adventurous as you. I'm not as, you go out of your way to try stuff that you may not like at all, but you're like, I've never tried this before. I'll see what chicken giblets are. Okay, these are fine. I'll never have it again, but I'm glad I got it. Whereas I'm going to stick to something I know I'll probably like.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll eat it. If you're like, hey, try a giblet, I won't be a chicken. I'll put it in my mouth, I'll chew it, and I'll go, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be there. Food's been figured out pretty well. So like, if you haven't tried it, a lot of times there's a good chance that it's not the best thing in the world. But at the same time, sometimes if there's something unusual on the menu, it's like the thing that they're proud of. And it wouldn't be on the menu. Like this bizarre sounding thing wouldn't be on the menu if it wasn't awesome.
Right.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it's like my dad loved liver. Growing up, it was his favorite food, probably because food was so scarce that you'd have a taste for whatever was the most nutritionally dense thing, because they would, like, my dad, growing up with 8 siblings or whatever, they had chickens, and they would sell all of the good eggs to the market and then feed the kids with the bad eggs that couldn't be sold.
Contractor has the worst house on the block. Same phenomenon. And liver is synonymous with bad food. It's the Michael Jordan of bad food. Like, what am I, chopped liver?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly filet mignon, but it's not chopped liver either. It's right in the middle.
If you walked into someone's house and they had a liver in the oven, you would be like, what the fuck is happening? This is awful. You'd probably want to leave. I'm polite. I'd be like, oh, is that food? That's yummy. I wish I could stay for dinner. I'm so sorry, but please, we got a rain check. I'll text you. And then they text me, and then it shows delivered, and there's no reply back. And I should write back to those fucks with the liver, but I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next month. I'll do it in the next incarnation. I'll do it after the multiverse reincarnates into something else. What about Irish food? You into it? You into like
Let's see, there's potatoes, there's stews, there's haggis. No, haggis is Scottish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think haggis is Scottish. It's stuffed sheep's guts. No, I don't know a lot of Irish food, to be honest.
Yeah, you got a lot of,
not the most known for their food.
Oh, it's always like hearty. There's like pot pies and pot roasts and just a lot of pot-based dishes, and shepherd's pie. There's a lot of like hearty Midwesterner stuff. I grew up on a lot of that stuff. I like, when I visited Ireland, which I've probably spent a couple months, it's pretty awesome. And I thought the food is fantastic. Some people,
I'm sure I would find something to love about it, but currently, it doesn't have the same weight of like, oh, do you want to get Chinese? Do you want to get Italian? Do you want to get Ethiopian? You don't say, do you want to get Irish? Let's get Irish food tonight. Let's put this potato in the microwave. It'll be done in about six hours.
Well, you're Iranian, right?
Yep.
So that's
close. It's got
to the
iron
equator.
in it.
Closer
Kiss
to
me,
the
I'm
equator.
Iran.
That's gonna be a taste for spicier food, typically.
Oh yeah. And Irish is not very spicy.
Not spicy at all. You don't need any. There's not the same bacteria and viruses, but not bacteria and parasites.
Are there white cultures with spicy food? Not very many.
No, the whole reason why the skin is white is because people just kept on going with less and less white. Like, isn't that weird that, like, I know white seems normal if you like live in America or whatever, but it's bizarre if you look at our ancestral past. Like,
where did it become like that?
Be white.
Yeah, because you see, like, well, all of humanity originated from Africa, and then you can't help but think, like, okay, but where did these extra pale, powder people come from? They just moved up north until they were sunned out, and then multiply that by 1,000,000 years, and eventually you end up with this shade.
Yeah, to get that vitamin D in there, that scarce amount of vitamin D through the skin.
I need to revisit this. I'm telling this third hand, but Luisa from the Why You Mad podcast with Jake Flores and Luisa Diaz, she is an anthropologist or studied anthropology at some point. It was saying that the more closer to the equator cultures were more about like sharing and giving and more help your neighbor, and then the cultures up north, because it was so cold, it's more scarce, and they were more about like they were warring with each other over resources, and then that's where that colonial instinct came from. And
Yeah,
I forget
with
the
like
point of all that, but
with
and then I made some kind of joke that white people are the original black people or something. Like,
I mean, when there's farmland, there's not as much. You can't just like steal a bunch of crops, or it's not, it doesn't make as much sense. Like steal a bunch of tomatoes or whatever. But for herders, you could steal someone's like all of their cattle or whatever if people are living on the move and whatnot. So yeah, there had to be, that's that cultures of honor that we've talked about before, like the Scottish and stuff, where you'd have to kind of make a lot of aggressive displays to play up how readily you would penalize anyone that would wrong you. So a lot more displays of a readiness toward aggression, and then a lot of those cattle herders ended up in the South, when in the United States, because they had the experience doing that. But yeah, I think if going back further than that, resources would have been more scarce. Maybe you'd be hunkered down more. I don't know. I don't know what early life going up north would be like, or why. It seems like a nightmare. Just the cold and the winter. It's actually a really good transition to get back to St. Patrick's Day, because St. Patrick's Day, do you know it all? It's like it was.
I don't even know the guy's last name. Maybe it is Patrick. Maybe his first name is Ron. I have no idea either.
Yeah,
it's strange that for a holiday and a people and a culture and a nationality, it's a very strong brand, and it's a very liked brand. Everyone loves the Irish. Like
it's the most celebrated national holiday that there is worldwide in terms of other countries. Like
I thought it would be like Chinese New Year or something.
I don't think so. Like 4th of July is
that's going to be just
celebrated
America.
Anywhere else. St. Patrick's Day is.
Are we going by people or by number of nations? Because that's why I say the Chinese one, or like some Indian holiday, just because they've got the numbers.
No, I mean most celebrated in other countries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not counting your own country. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. What is his origin? And why do we love them so much? Because like the Irish do have the gift of gab, like the poetry, the Celtic music. Did you know there's a language called Gaelic? I watched this YouTube video of people going around being like, "Can you speak Gaelic?" And then most people know a few words or like can put a sentence together. And I had no idea that many Irish people have some connection to it. And I think, they were colonized by England and then they were forced to speak English or something. And then Gaelic went away, but it's this old magical language.
There's actually the interesting comedy thing. There's this guy, a good guy, funny too, but his name's Des Bishop, and he's like Ireland's second or third. He's like top 3 comedians, which is kind of like being in the top 3 comedians in Rhode Island. But regardless, it's different because it's a whole culture with
who's
their
number
own
one
independent television and everything else, so it's not like Rhode Island doesn't have its own TV and culture and stuff in the same way that Ireland would. Tommy Tiernan, Tommy Tiernan was one of those guys. I think he set the first Guinness Book of World's Records for longest stand-ups. You remember that stupid period of time?
Dane Cook, Chappelle, 17-hour stand-up.
Yeah, everyone was like, how long can I do stand-up?
That's like making the wettest hot dog or something. Who cares? This is the most wet hot dog. It's been sitting in this glass of water for 17 hours. Yours was only in there for 3 hours. Can you put your hot dog into a cup of water for 17 hours? I guess. Will people like it? That's not what it's about. It's about it going long. It's about talking long to people who are just there so that they can say that they were there and the famous person talked at them. Just kidding. Dane Cook is the GOAT. Everyone's the GOAT now. It's ridiculous. We got to pick one.
Oh, that was a solid riff. I'm gonna give you a bell for the GOAT riff.
And who is a stand-up GOAT that did not build a career like with other stuff outside stand-up? Because Seinfeld, much of his fame is from the show, which he does stand up in the show, but he wouldn't be as big without the show. And same with Chappelle wouldn't be as big without Chappelle's show. So it's like two shows that really push them to the top. But who's a stand-up?
Carlin, probably.
Carlin, yeah. Okay.
Carlin was just stand-up. And then... I
guess prior to, he was in movies, but he never had a show. Or maybe he did have a show. Maybe like a 70s show.
Pryor and Carlin.
Cosby.
Probably.
But no, Cosby also had a show that made him really big. But he was a big stand-up before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did something though. Something kind of happened with him.
Remember.
I'm not sure, but some kind of controversy happened.
What's he been up to?
No idea.
Haven't heard it. Has he put out a new album recently? I haven't heard his skits in a while.
Gerard Carmichael had a short bit. I don't even know if it was a full bit or if he just said it one night, but was like, yeah, I met him. I met Cosby. I went to his place, had tea. Don't remember much. I think there was a bigger context too, but it was a funny bit.
Chappelle did call himself the GOAT in a special, which that's a little like, come on.
It fits the brand though.
He's great.
It
fits the brand.
Yeah.
But
like he's not Jeremy Hotz, it's like, I suck. I'm stupid. I'm not the GOAT. Chris Rock's better than me. He's not that. He's very like confident.
Listen to this though. Des Bishop was a New York comedian that moved to Ireland and then just decided I'm going to be an Irish comic and learned Gaelic and then became Ireland's like biggest or one of their biggest comics and did all of these different things. And,
so people still speak it?
Really big.
I thought it was deader than Latin.
I think
people still wake up and speak it to their husband and wife and order food with it.
You can still learn Sanskrit according to Subway ads.
Which one's that again? Is that the Jewish one?
That's a dead-ish language. I think
is that the Arabic?
Isn't that Arabic?
Yeah, I should know that. I should know Arabic. I should know all the stuff.
I
can write my name, water, and bread. What?
You already got 3 languages, don't you?
I know English, French, and Farsi, yeah.
Yeah, that's plenty. Slow down a little bit.
I don't know Arabic, and I don't know Sanskrit, but it sounds like ancient. It's like going to be on a scroll made of stone that shows that Jesus had 12 wives or something.
Yeah, it's weird that people still learn. By the way, I put coMUMity de Buffon's name in the chat. Can you pronounce that in French?
Oh, let's see. The chat is not here, but if I click this, I will see the chat because the way my window is open is different than most people do, and I'm saying words so that I can fill the dead air. Georges Louis Leclerc coMUMity de Buffon.
Okay.
Georges Louis Leclerc coMUMity Buffon.
Georges Louis Leclerc coMUMity de Buffon. All right. Very fancy. Ireland, St. Patrick's Day. So it was a reprieve during Lent. Are you familiar with Lent at all?
40 days of Jesus not eating food or water. And now today it's people not drinking Pepsi or texting their ex or something.
Isn't it crazy?
I am not going to watch.
Jesus.
I'm not going to watch, and just like that, and I'm not going to watch anything on Showtime. I'm only going to be watching Disney Plus, Netflix, and Amazon Prime for 40 days. And I'm allowed to have sugar, but I'm not allowed to have high fructose corn syrup. So I could have like a Mexican Coke, but I wouldn't be able to have like Mountain Dew. I wouldn't be able to have like a Sprite on the airplane, because most of the American ones have high fructose corn syrup in it. So I'm trying to avoid that, but it's been hard, but it's all right. It's so hard though. No, I've never done a Lent.
Very much like Jesus in the desert.
I like the idea of it though. I like the idea of, sacrifice. I'm not going to do it, but, sacrificing things for a while and then coming back to it. Mm-hmm. Do you ever do it? Or did you ever do it back when you were under the church?
Well, so I was raised Catholic. So it was like a thing that was like loosely imposed.
You got to pick though, right? You got to
pick, and people that it was usually had something or other to do with TV. It was all just ways of your parents trying to get you to do homework more, finding ways to get you to do homework, which is so much of these religious traditions are, well, one, just managing children by imposing like eyes in the sky type things. You know that if you put eyes like at a bus stop, just put a poster of eyes at a bus
stop, people behave better.
Dramatically less litter, less crime.
Damn. We should put a hole in the moon and then put another ball up there, and then the whole world will behave. Or just a big mirror, and then it'll look like we have two moons with eyes. Just one big googly eye on the moon. Uh-oh.
You hear that, Elon Musk? Save the world. Imagine Elon Musk announcing that project. We're going to make the moon look like
yes we're gonna put an eye on the moon. It's a big problem that we're working to solve. That's yes it costs a lot of money. Yes,
one study in a control they had it's like in a factory or something like that. They had in the break room an area where you could just grab coffee or I think like a couple little snacks or something like that, and then they had a little donation box. And they did it, counted it before and after, putting a poster with eyes like above the thing, and they collected twice the amount of money, I believe, if I'm remembering right, by having the eyes there. So to me, a lot of these religious practices, because we've talked about the prefrontal cortex, which is like the last to develop, the first to go away. It's our human superpower, the ability to do the hard thing when it's the right thing to do, the ability to delay gratification over that short, quick reward and delay it for the long-term reward. We're better at it than any other species out there, but it's really hard to do. And I think of some of these practices as almost like a metaphysical cortex or something that's in like a culturally passed down tradition to get you to we all have trouble controlling our impulses, so having something culturally that's just nudging you toward that right direction is what a lot of religion seems to be about. And this is, so if we go back to, we did a Halloween episode, Christmas episode. Now St. Patrick's Day which was this reprieve from these strict, during Lent, you couldn't eat meat and you couldn't drink and blah, blah, blah. And then during St. Patrick's Day, you could do all these things. So they went full, like the one day that you can, everyone just went bonkers, which is kind of,
Why is it this day? Because isn't Lent 40 days after Easter, or it's before Easter?
It's before Easter. It's,
so it happens
the
right
beginning
after
of March. Yeah, it's like 2 weeks in. It's about the roughly the halfway point, I believe.
Yeah, for some reason these holidays were never as sticky to me. Like Christmas, super sticky. Halloween, sticky. But then you ask me what day is Easter, what day is St. Patrick's Day, I can get it down to the month, but it's anyone's game after that. Is it March 17?
I think it was historically a slightly different day, maybe March 1st or 3rd, but now we do Ash Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday of March. So it's
Did
March
you ever put the thing on your forehead?
Yeah, in fact,
I was so confused. Like I moved from Canada to Texas, and religion wasn't as big where I was from in Canada, and then it's bigger in Texas. And then one day, just everyone has little crosses made of ash on their forehead, and I just had no idea.
I went to play pickleball on what I didn't know was Ash Wednesday, and it's been a long time since I've been to church. There's just this guy, I walk in, there's this guy with like smut on his forehead, and I was about to be like, if you have a booger hanging out of your nose or whatever, I don't care if you're a stranger or whatever, I'm going to let you know. Like, I consider that to be a service to yourself and humanity. I want to know if I got a booger hanging out of my nose. And so I was just about to let the guy know, like, hey, you have a little bit you got something going on up here, FYI. And then I was like, oh, damn, Ash Wednesday. I forgot about Ash Wednesday.
You got to be cautious with that, like with pregnancies, because it's rare, but some people have like a big birthmark or something on their face, and you just want to be like, hey, excuse me, you've got a little, and then like, yeah, I did know. It. Oh, you've done that?
I did it once.
Oh, no.
It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal.
Did you have a jetpack to fly away out of?
What happened was I confused some details. So it was just a horrific scenario. So I have actually some of my oldest childhood friends, right? And we kind of lost touch but they often come out to shows when I'm in town. And so, we don't keep up very well. So I had gotten information that his sister was pregnant, confused it for his wife, saw her. She had been doing like fertility hormone stuff, trying to get pregnant. I knew they were trying to get pregnant. And so she was, whatever was going on, she was like a little bit bigger because of this. And ladies often don't carry weight in the gut as much as like men do, but because of whatever hormone she happened to. And I did a like, what are you expecting or congratulations thing. It was horrific. It was an awful, awful thing to happen.
How did you escape? Like you apologized, you changed the subject?
Oh, I don't remember. I just remember it being horrifying and for everyone involved, and it sucked a lot.
No, I wouldn't say thank you, even if just the head of the baby was poking out. I would wait until the last pinky toe comes out. Oh wait, babies don't come out. No, they do come out head first. They're supposed to come out head first. Yeah. Yeah, feet first is bad news. That means you need C-section.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
I was a rebel from the get-go.
Good work. I don't know if I was. I should figure that out. But what does it matter?
We're here now.
Yeah. It's like, where did I come out of? Did I come out of stomach or regular style? It's important. I need to know. My birth chart needs it.
Your birth chart does need it. So there was Lent, and then St. Patrick's Day is like in the middle of Lent. So this makes sense. But if we remember back to, by the way, listeners, if you're brand new to this show, well, this would have been a weird episode because we have the weirdest of the cult that we're building and everything else.
Yeah.
But going back from the beginning, we're always building on ideas and putting pieces together. Hopefully, this is a little bit of a just so story, but if you remember back to Halloween, much of that was about ritualizing this idea of fall's coming, winter's approaching, there's going to be death coming. And winter must have just been fucking horrific for so many of, at least the people that were moving up north into the colder terrain, and then gave rise to some of these modern religions that are popular in the US and Europe and stuff. And so there was that kind of origin of Halloween. And then you have winter solstice, which was you're having this festival to break up, like, it's the shortest day of the year. It's cold. It's dangerous. It's miserable. You're hunkered down. And now there's diminishing returns on feeding your livestock. So it makes sense to slaughter more than normal at this time. So you have this big feast to celebrate this. And in my way of viewing it, ritual being like a way of like exaggerating more nuanced practices that make sense in ways over time. And then you had Lent, because if you think about it, just like I just went through a horrible fucking February, and I live in times where I'm not missing food or anything else. I'm just like grumpy because I'm not making as much progress on some of my various projects.
Yeah, our art projects are nothing to do with regular jobs projects.
And so, and depression possibly being adaptive and making you pump the brakes and just lay the fuck down and not use any energy. Don't go out there running around with a bunch of energy. You don't have it to burn. So then you have this, much in the same way Hindus have the sacred cow, because their cows weren't as meaty as cows we're familiar with now. And so to kill them off, because you're desperate and you're hungry, you just got rid of your source of dairy, your source of it's basically a cow's a tractor factory that can even in old age produce bulls and blah blah blah. So you impose this really big, like, make it important, give it a big reason and a story that's easy to remember, to not, so you won't even think about slaughtering that cow when you're desperate. And probably the same thing would happen around Lent, where your remaining livestock that you're going to need in the coming year are looking pretty fucking delicious as you're starving and at the tail end of winter. So you impose this like holiday, because Lent is just chucked full of side quest holidays. There's holidays within holidays. There's like there's Good Fridays, Ash Wednesdays. There's like a zillion different things sprinkled in it, and St. Patrick's Day being the one thing. And it had me thinking just about like so much of modern religion originated from just getting through the fucking horrendous depths of winter.
Yeah.
And the unpredictability of it. It is like none of these happen in the summer, because you have when you decrease predictability and control and things are desperate, that's when you need these systems and these beliefs and to keep going the most. They say like, no one's an atheist in the trenches, or when the plane's going down, or they used to, like, when Christopher Hitchens was dying, like all of his haters would be like, oh, you'll believe, just wait, on your deathbed you're gonna. But this is something subconscious that we all kind of know that we do, I remember being a teenager and like praying for a girlfriend when I was like 14. That's just how desperate I was. It was so, but it's like, there's not any in the summer. You just don't need Jesus in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, what is there? There's July 4th, which that's circumstantial because it just happened around that time. But other than that, like, summer itself is the holiday. It's summer. That's the holiday.
Yeah, it's just summer. What would you need Jesus for? You don't need to like throw weird traditions at the chaos that is life because it's just gravy.
Yeah, there's Canada Day, July 1st, July 4th, there's Juneteenth, but none of those are big brands like Christmas and St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, you'll have like Memorial Day, Labor Day, stuff like that. Like, all right, everybody, but we're going to get back into working again.
Those are YouTube channels as opposed to Netflix or Hulu or something. Christmas is Netflix and July 4th is just a YouTube channel that's pretty good.
Just not as much praying in the summertime. Don't need it. You know who needs Jesus in the summer is baseball players. Lots of real superstitious type, the baseball players, because there's like just a sliver of a difference in hitting a ball or whatever, and you're not doing much most of the time, you know, and then you gotta like be ready for the pop like most of the time you're just sitting on the bench or just waiting for something to happen.
They wear so much clothes. They're wearing like long sleeve shirts, pants, a hat.
Babe Ruth was one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Isn't that crazy? He was just like out of shape drunk.
Uncle, yeah.
he was drunk all the time, and like smoking and everything else.
What's the guy, Jackie Robinson? What's the first black baseball player?
Yeah. A fantastic movie.
Was he before? No, he's after Babe Ruth, right?
Yeah.
There was the like Negro Leagues or something, and then that was integrated in, but yeah, the level of playing is going to change once you have that change.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, well, that's like in the 30s, right? No, maybe 50s.
He played.
I just think of the candy bar.
Jackie Robinson played in 47, it looks like. It was when he signed a contract. And let's see, when was Babe Ruth? Babe Ruth. Oh, yeah. Babe Ruth was before that. He retired in 1935. Babe
That's
Ruth
so
did.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just the original slugger. He was good at swinging the thing and then hitting a home run. And honestly, I have no idea about baseball and I have no idea about Babe Ruth. So my analysis of all this is stupid, but it seems like he was probably not up to the caliber of the people today, which I don't even know who.
He waddled. If you look at films, in my mind, he's got like a waddle to him.
Yeah, he's kind of cartoon like.
Imagine
Humpty Dumpty.
being the best in your sport and you're a waddler.
Yeah, and it's not fat shaming because it's in the past and he was a slave owner. He was. Look it up. Look it up right now.
Well, forget about the fat shaming. Just the fact that he was like drunk half the time, at least within like the lore, you know.
And they thought he was a sissy because he was only drunk half the time instead of all the time. So goody two shoes. I need to look this up too, but I was looking up who the first person to wear their hat backwards was, if that's recorded anywhere. And the internet says Ken Griffey Jr. started it, but that seems too recent.
Wow.
It seems like it should be before that, but maybe Ken Griffey Jr. did start the trend. That would be nuts. Like it's just from the, not
you
that
would
long
think
ago.
like mechanics or something like that would have kicked that off.
Maybe.
You know, because you're working on something and then you got to get your face in there and see
That's
a little
true.
better or whatever.
Yeah, it is kind of a mechanic like too, but I don't know.
Huh. Ken Griffey Jr.
That's what the internet says, but
maybe he started the
like
style of it. Before that, it was you would do it as a utility thing and flip it back.
Yeah. I don't even know a baseball player today. Like Albert Pujols or something. Is that the main guy?
No idea. I don't know any of them.
A-Rod, is that still a guy or is he retired?
I think he's
some of these
retired.
names I'm naming are from like 2006.
Yeah. I don't remember any. I think I had a Frank Thomas rookie card.
No idea.
What was another big baseball card that I had? I don't remember. It was collecting baseball card. It's just such a weird hobby to have. I liked collecting cards and I never watched sports. And I spent so much money on these stupid cards.
There's a different reason for it. It's like the investment, even if it's not a good investment, it's that same muscle. It's like, I know this is going to be worth more later because in the past, that's how it played out.
Right.
But as we've seen with Beanie Babies and most likely many of the NFT projects today, a lot of them are going to not be worth that much later. But the concept of it will always be around. There's always going to be the little thing that we don't know why we're buying it. And we're like, no, it's going to be worth something. And some of them are, and some of them aren't. And it's just our little thing, our little picking up stones or the seashells or whatever.
Oh, see, I mean, look at 4-leaf clover on your shirt. There's
and on my hat and on my cheek.
I think the clover started to explain the Holy Trinity. It was the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. St Patrick was like.
So what's the fourth thing? Like the person? St Patrick was a slave.
Yeah, he got brought to Ireland as a slave, and then like got away. It must have been some chill ass slavery because he then he's only there for a few years. And then I don't know if it was indentured servitude or what, but then he went away and then he's like, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to teach those people about the Lord. That's what they need to hear about is the Lord.
That's why he's a saint.
Yeah. And then he went and brought Christianity to Ireland. And I think he would use the clover or somewhere along the way, they started using a clover to explain the Holy Trinity. And then once you're on the lookout for, I think they would put a clover on the bottom of a beer too, as a celebration thing during St. Patrick's Day. And then, but once you're then looking for clovers, then you find one that's 4-leaf. Now it's oh my gosh, never seen one of these before. You know, you go to explain the Holy Trinity and it's got an extra one on there. It's is that me? Is this a sign? Am I the fourth one?
The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and Brian. And this fourth one is for Brian. He's my brother. He's a fine Catholic.
I don't know if you've ever tried looking for 4-leaf clovers before, but I certainly have.
I wasn't grown in a tube in a lab. I was a human boy. Of course I looked for 4-leaf clovers.
I didn't know if it was how cultural it was. I assumed that would be the case, but it's quite a find when you find one. So that is just scarcity, the values in I was able to find the scarcest thing. That's it. You could do that with literally any plant.
I hid it behind a stone. I found one in my whole life and I hid it behind a stone and then it disappeared.
I wish we could do a 4-leaf weed plant or something like that.
What's it now? 5?
3. Weed's
it's 5.
Kind of not my thing.
You're talking about the marijuana leaf? That's 5. It's got the one pointing up, the 2 straight, and then it's got the 2 diagonal. I've been in a Spencer Gifts.
It looks like it's a 7. I've been in a Spencer's. It's 7. We're both wrong.
7? Oh, because of the little ones. The little ones underneath. Okay, so you've got the main boy up top. You've got the 2 horizontals. You got the little danglies, and then you've got the mediums up like this. Okay, 7.
Yeah.
2, 2, 2, 1. Yeah.
What do you think for the art for this episode being something about? What if there's a 4-leaf clover out of?
I hate it. No, just keep going.
I figured you would, but because you don't do gimmicky things typically, or not traditional gimmicky holiday stuff. But if it was either coming out of the Big Bang or out of like a desert of nothing, and it was something like lucky just to be here or to exist at all, or something along those lines. I'm trying to think of what a St. Patrick's Day episode would be. But anyway, that's St. Patrick's Day. It's the first sober one I've had in a couple of years. Let's see. I was sober in 2019 and 18. Yeah.
Oh, that's what caused the pandemic. You should have drunk it up.
I know. Yeah,
2019 still sounds like, I'm such a broken record here, but I think to all of us, 2019 still sounds like last year.
I'm going to see if I can. My plan is to not drink until our Mum Fest
Camp?
or Mum Campo. Yeah, because I just want to get all my shit together this summer. And but you still want to have, that's the thing with a lot of these belief systems. It's a lot of keeping your impulses under control, getting you to like do the thing that you ultimately is supposed to be good for you, or culture or whatever, or the powers that be or whatever. But I would like my power to be to move me toward a more happy and productive life. But you still got to like dangle a carrot, you just got to dangle the carrot further away. So that's why you put the St. Patrick's Day in there, and you have the winter solstice feast and these various things. So we got to do that too. Delayed
Gratification, not never gratification or canceled gratification.
Right. Because then we can, I think then we could maybe try to find something in the South for International Mum Day next year, but who knows? We need this first one to be a success. And like I said, I mean, I've already talked to like 10 people that are definitely coming, and that's just like a couple of friends and stuff that I talk to. So I think it'll be bigger than a 50-person little intimate camp out, but we might want to. It just depends on what we want to. If we want to keep it to being Patreon only members for the first year and have it be a planning thing, maybe. Otherwise, it's going to be open to the public, and the Patreon members will have something else that I already have in mind and planned that will make them special. So check that out. You'll get a bunch of awesome perks and everything else. And don't forget, if you're looking to add a video component to your listening, we're now not just on YouTube, but on Spotify as well. Hopefully adding more platform choices for you soon. But we're thrilled that we're one of the first on Spotify. So while you're there, throw a 5-star review. Anything else you want to add, Ramin?
It's the end of the sode.
It's the end of the sode, I think.
Why don't you just wave that flag for me real quick, and I'll play a sad going away lick of... That's Irish. That's the whole Irish culture for you, everybody. I hope you learned a lot about this beautiful culture and learned exactly how to speak it the correct way, like I do.
My goodness, you are very talented. Thank you for sharing that delightful music. Thank you, listeners, for listening. And until next time,
keep on salivating, honeys.